I know you probably hear this all the time, but you should be taking breaks from Final Fantasy. And here's why. If you've been finding yourself bored while playing, or if you find yourself just loathing the game, or if you find yourself wishing that you were playing literally anything else, then maybe it's time to take a break from Final Fantasy XIV. In fact, I think it can actually be beneficial for you to take breaks from Final Fantasy. Hell, honestly, you don't even need a good reason to take a break. You can just do it because you want to. Personally, I just took a year break soon after Dawn Trail came out. And I remember soon after I stopped playing, that was when everybody in the Final Fantasy community was talking about how, 14 was seeing this huge player drop off. But I didn't take a break because Dawn Trail sucks. In fact, I actually liked Dawn Trail when it first came out, and I still like it to this day. But I still took a break because I wanted to do other things. During my break, I taught myself how to draw, poorly. I made 2 very small video games, and I got really into fighting games. But I always knew in the back of my head that I eventually wanted to come back to 14. And here I am, a year later, feeling refreshed and ready to start playing again. Now, I want to say here that it's okay if you don't like Dawn Trail. It's okay if you're tired of the same old content every single patch. I'm not saying that you shouldn't voice your critiques and that you should stop playing 14. Because I know a lot of people say, oh, you don't like Final Fantasy XIV? Then go play WoW. Or go take a break. That's what Yoshi P says. No, I think saying that there's not enough content for you to play with each patch release is a totally valid criticism. But if you are truly not enjoying your time playing Final Fantasy XIV, and you find yourself ranting online about how terrible the game is all the time, then maybe that's your sign that it could be time to take a break. Now, I also don't want this to come off as me telling you what to do. If you can still find the fun in playing 14, then go ahead and please enjoy it while voicing your criticisms. That's entirely fine. This video is more for people whose negativity is really starting to turn over and they can no longer enjoy themselves. It's also for the people that don't have a house. Maybe you want to stop playing, but you don't for various reasons. It could be because of the sunk cost fallacy, FOMO, or just general fatigue. I currently have about, let's just say, too much playtime over the course of 2 years of playing Final Fantasy. And that's not even counting my alt characters. I started back in 6.2, which basically makes me a baby in the Final Fantasy community. Starting at Endwalker doesn't even compare to the 2.0 veterans or, dear lord, even the 1.0 people. But even if you have a ton of hours logged into the game, that doesn't mean you have to force yourself to keep playing a game you aren't having fun with anymore. Now, you might be thinking, well, if I stopped now, that means all of these previous hours went to waste. Even if you don't consciously think that, you might subconsciously think it. But I have to tell you that that is simply not true. If all of those hours of you playing 14 in the past were of you having fun, then nothing has gone to waste. You were having fun, and that is always worth something. So if you simply do not enjoy logging into Final Fantasy, then it is not worth your mental health. And if you've been playing Final Fantasy for a long time, then you might be tying your identity to the game. I am a Final Fantasy XIV player, you might be thinking. That's my personality. I don't think anybody actually says that, but... So the idea of unsubbing is like you not only admitting that the game sucks, but it might also think that you suck, which is obviously not true. I am sure a lot of you who are watching this video have something else going on with their life outside of Final Fantasy. It might be time to start focusing on that more. And if you don't have anything else going on, you have a world of possibilities at your disposal. So go out there and find other things that you can love just as much as Final Fantasy. And please, don't fall victim to the sunk cost fallacy. Now this one might be a big one, the fear of missing out. This I think is very common in MMOs and honestly most games nowadays. During my break, I also played a little bit of Zenless Zone Zero, and it has a very similar problem to what some might feel in Final Fantasy XIV. They have this whole thing of, oh, I have to play this patch or else I'm going to miss pulling this character, or I'm not going to have enough currency to pull the next character. Thankfully, I think Final Fantasy is one of the better games to have this problem with, because the only items I think you could possibly miss would be seasonal events, Mog Tombstone Glam, and maybe PvP gear. But it seems like they're going to be selling old PvP gear in an in-game shop, and almost all of the seasonal event items go up on the Mog Station a year later, and then Mog Tombstone Glam is usually brought back in another Mog Tombstone event. But you might think, well, if I stay sub to 14 that I can get the seasonal items for free, which is true, but that month sub is basically you paying for that item right now anyway. I believe, for the most part, almost everything in Final Fantasy is possible to get at a later point. If you'd rather not be sub to 14, but you're afraid of missing out on items, don't be. Because I have a little secret to tell you. All of these items, they don't actually matter. And maybe your FOMO takes a different form. Maybe it's more of FOMO on missing out on the day one experiences. Maybe you want to say that you were there on day one when this raid was released, and it had this one certain glitch that they have since patched out, and man, it was so crazy back then. That's all well and good, but is it worth it if you're not truly enjoying yourself in the moment? I guess you can decide that for yourself. Now, the grind in Final Fantasy can be a lot. It can really wear a person down, which is why I respect people like Cider Spider who are grinding achievements left and right, or people who love grinding Occult Crescent for their ultimate relic weapon. But sometimes that grind can quickly turn from a relaxing way to spend your evening to just a slog that you have to force yourself to get through. So I ask again, is it really worth it? I don't know about you, but I like to grind games that I have a deep passion for, like Final Fantasy XIV. But what happens when that grind suddenly makes you start to loathe the game? I don't actually enjoy Occult Crescent or whatever I'm doing, but I'm doing it anyway because I can't stop now. That kind of sounds like the Sunk Cost Fallacy, doesn't it? If you are tired of doing the same thing day in and day out, and you just wish that something new and different would happen, then you should go and seek out different activities. Go try out the variant dungeons. Maybe you'd like PvP if you actually gave it a try. Hell, go fishing. You might find that you might like it. After 6.55 came out and everybody was waiting for Dawntrail, I decided to really get into fishing. So I made it my goal to get the fishing title and mount. And I found that I actually liked it more than I thought I would. And maybe you would too. But if you've tried all that and nothing really seems to work, or if you truly feel like there's nothing else you want to do, then taking a week, a month, 6 months, or a year, like me, to do anything else outside of Final Fantasy XIV can actually be a good thing. In fact, I think that being away from Final Fantasy will make you more excited to play it whenever you come back to it. And if you don't ever come back to it, but you find yourself enjoying life more, then all the better to you. When you come back, you might be able to look past the flaws of the game and actually be able to enjoy it again. And maybe if you take a long enough break, they might have fixed some problems that you have with the game. For example, in the year break that I took, I will admit that most of the game didn't change, but I did find out that I can now walk while summoning my mount. And oh my god, dude, I cannot tell you how much I love this quality of life change. It's something so small, but it makes the game a little bit better to play, in my opinion. So in summary, don't feel like you have to stay subbed to Final Fantasy XIV. I promise you, the game isn't going anywhere, and trust me, Square Enix doesn't need any more of your money. And go ahead, voice your problems to Square Enix and to others, because honestly, after playing other online games, let me tell you that the 14 devs do a lot better at listening to their player base than a lot of other game devs do. Trust me, I'm looking at you, Tekken 8. And I know a lot of people might watch this video and be like, dude, it's not that serious. It's a video game, which True, but I think we currently live in a society where people tend to attach their self-worth to something, and in this case, it's Final Fantasy XIV. Like I said, I just really got into fighting games this past year, and a lot of people suffer from this in that community as well. So I wanted to share it with the Final Fantasy community, because we do it over here too, just in a different way, I think. When I started playing Final Fantasy XIV around 6.2 in 2022, I played for 2 years straight, almost every single day, all the way up to 2024. And let me tell you, I thoroughly enjoyed my time. But a time came when I craved something else, and I'm glad that I took a break from Final Fantasy. Either way though, I think I am finally fully coming back to the game. Maybe I won't be playing the game every single day like I used to, but I do plan to continue making content on Final Fantasy in the future on a more consistent basis. Like the video if you liked it, and subscribe so you could watch more of my commentary, essay, and discussion videos on Final Fantasy XIV. Also, feel free to comment if you agree or disagree with anything I said in the video, and that goes for all of my videos. See you guys in the next video.